think my question, you guys already talked about it. I was going to ask specifically though, if you feel or if you've experienced that being a woman, how that's helped your career. We've heard a lot of how you've faced a lot of struggles as women, as people of color, etc. But have you found it any benefits like that men?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a better problem solver. I can understand people's perspectives. Honestly, like, and as a scientist, I go into communities and not a lot of scientists stay in their labs and they don't talk to people, and it's very focused on, and my work is really applied. And so, going into the Western Pacific as an American, a white woman coming from a prestigious university, I faced a lot of resistance, but it was my relatability, my ability to tell stories and being empathetic, that really, and to show them that I was really there to help and to co-design problems as solutions, not problems, solutions. So I think that my confidence that I had as a woman, but also the fact that I had the time and I gave them the time and the space. I think I'm empathetic, more empathetic because I am a woman, that allowed me to have that access.
I think we have better time management. I mean, when I was in college, I'm going to give you the very abridged version of my life, but I lived a very sheltered childhood, and when I went to college, I had my son my junior year in college. I took 6 months off. I went back to school 3 months after I had him, and I still fit back into my $3,000 size 2 uniform, by the way. I had just finished nursing, so I'm in a class full of all males and like leaking through my shirts every day in class, having to excuse myself. I worked 3 part-time jobs. I was on 2 varsity teams. I was in student government. I was rocking and rolling. Everyone knew who I was, and I worked really hard. I worked my ass off. I finished the rest of my degree in a year and a half, but still being a parent at the same time. And it was probably the most difficult thing that I've ever done. There was a lot of perseverance involved, but it makes me so much better at organization, time management, prioritizing. I mean, and my family totally comes first. So, I mean, that's why I'm in facilities engineering now. I went to school for shipping and the merchant marine, and I got my license just to prove to myself that I could get it. Because a lot of ladies drop out of the mechanical engineering program at the school that I was in. We started with 8, I ended up being the only one at the end. And, and I didn't ship out because I wanted to be close to my family. And so I think that we're really good at doing that prioritizing and time management just by nature. But yeah, I think that's what we bring to the table.
I'm highly recognizable. like in a room full of, white or Asian dudes, people find a hard time not looking at me, right? It's hard. People have to really try and avoid looking at me. And I use that to my advantage. And I also wear bright colors, like your gorgeous green hair there. That's a smart thing to do. Stand out. And, I think as the kind of gendered experience that we can sometimes have is we want to shrink back. We want to not be so out there. And being an introvert, I for real seriously am an introvert. I know what that's like to not want to be out there, but the need for women to elevate their voices and to build this platform is what gives me the strength and reminds me of how important it is for me to go ahead and be visible and do things like this and wear bright colors. So I'm really thankful that I'm different, and I cannot wait for the day where I'm not different and I have to find something else to differentiate myself.
Everything that they said, everything. I remember when I first started my company, I was going to school and working a full-time job and starting a company at the same time. So all of it. I think it allows me to now expect more. I expect more because, first of all, the companies that are existing today are failing without a diverse perspective. They're getting themselves into trouble over and over and over again. I don't know if you guys have read the article from The Guardian that was about how companies don't build technology for women, so they're dying. Like, female police officers are getting shot because the bulletproof vests don't fit them. And pregnant women are dying in cars because they only tested the cars with a test dummy built for a guy, and they just shrank the same car, the dummy down, and tested it, meaning, oh, well, women are just smaller versions of men. That's not true. They get pregnant, right? And so my voice being able to represent a whole half of the population, not just people of color, but women in general, I feel my voice is valuable. And now I can go to a company and say, I expect more from you at this point, right? And I value myself more because I am a woman, and I am a product, just like any other company selling a product, right? I am a product, and now you need to pay a premium for me to make sure that I'm going to save your butt later, right? So I think that's the advantage.
And I want to add one more thing. I don't know if you ladies have experienced this as well, but I feel like sometimes being the woman in the room, it makes all the gentlemen uncomfortable, and they feel like they need to be a little more sensitive with what they say. I mean, I'm a sailor. I worked on a ship. I'm pretty salty. I'm trying to be as tender with you all as I can be. But the conversations that go on in those engineering workrooms, I mean, so sometimes it's like, haha, I'm going to catch them off guard. While they're trying to be all nice, I'm going to get what I want. And I use that to my advantage. Yes, I do.
Hi everyone, my name is Isabel, and I'm a big endorser of TED Talks. And I especially enjoy them because nothing is off the table. The topics are wide range. And I'm curious, if you were invited to headline a TED Talks conference, what would your topic be?
I don't ever think I've been stumped before in a question. It's a good one.
I would say that for me, it would be the importance of good work-life balance from, the employers recognizing that they need it and the employers recognizing that their employees need it. I think that that's something that's trending more in the industry today, and something, that my company is doing now that they have is paternity leave. So now not just the moms get maternity leave, but the fathers also get paternity leave. And I mean, who doesn't want to spend more time with their newborn child, right? Not just the moms. And I think that just recognizing that, making a happier employee makes a happier workplace. People are more productive when they're happy and they're really like, all right, I got the opportunity to take care of all the personal stuff. Now when I'm at work, I can really focus and I'm not worrying about that thing that I need to do when I get home, or that I may not have a chance to because I'm going to be stuck here till whatever time because my hours are from 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Fortunately, I make my own hours. So as long as the hours get put in, I can show up whenever I want and I can leave whenever I want. Sometimes I come in at like midnight on a Saturday because I know nobody will be there and I can actually get things done without my phone ringing and without emails coming in, and I'm the only person in the office, just to do those little catch-ups and just organize undistracted. So I just think recognizing that is important, and that's probably what my talk will be about.
It took me a minute to get mine, but mine would definitely be on how to thrive in an era of rapid change. One of the things, we talked a little bit about self-care. One of the things I created is a tool that actually helps you with self-care. It's called the Life Model Canvas. And essentially what it is it just allows you to get all your thoughts out about your goals, your values, your dreams, from different contexts. Your personal life context, like me, myself, and I, your family, people who depend on you, and then your career, like how you want to make money, how you want to make an impact on the world. And what we see happening today is we've entered in this fourth industrial revolution. I don't know if you've heard that phrase before, but definitely Google it. It's basically like how AI is transforming our world now. And we're going to see a lot of rapid change coming in the next 5, 10, 20 years. Rapid change. It's going to affect all your careers, everything. And we have to really learn these skills of how to manage the impact of these changes on our lives. And there isn't a lot out there, and I've worked a lot on the subject, and I would be so happy to give a TED Talk on that.
It's the fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution. It also took me a minute. I think I've kind of collated, and I can talk forever, but it would be about options. It would be about options. I think the ability options breeds confidence. Options breed the ability to make choices, not feeling stuck, not getting into your own head. And in order to get those options, you have to do a bunch of other prerequisite tasks. Like you said, figuring out a way to actually articulate and heal from your emotions, right? Figuring out a way and being able to articulate that. Also, from a next step, after you figured out what the heck you want to do, because who knows what they actually want to do, right? What is the plan to get there? Because it takes a lot of time and planning to move forward if you're going to take huge leaps in your career. And sometimes you don't have the ability or to take 5 years off to figure out what you want to do. You got to make money now, right? You have to move forward. And I think giving yourself options and knowing how to obtain those options will allow people to move forward, especially in technology, as things start to move forward. If you know engineering, you can go to any company and just learn the syntax of a language, right? But if you never took engineering, you have to start with one language, and then you have to figure out, what are all the programming fundamentals that lay under that, right? So what are the steps that you need to take to get options, and once you have them, how do you actually make the decisions to choosing one? Because that's a whole separate skill. But that whole flow of being enough, learning to put a plan together for yourself, even if it's a guideline, because plans change all the time and stuff happens, right? And then choosing that option, and then making an option, and then taking the next step is probably what my TED Talk will be about.
Okay, yours all are probably more interesting than the one I would give. But I'm probably going to nerd out a little bit in some of the work that I've been doing, because I think the story of political histories and political transformations around the world are really important to know and to learn from. And so I think we have everything from Easter Island, them destroying their environment, to the Japanese taking over imperialism in the Western Pacific, to things that are going on in this country. And I think it's all can be woven together. I think it's really important to not only know what happened in the past, lessons we can learn, but the process to today and how we can be engaged in so many different ways. And so my story would be about political transformations and and how it's happening today.
Okay, so I have just one more question before we wrap this up. If you could go back in time and take an elevator ride with your younger self, say yourself when you were a sophomore in college, what advice would you give yourself?
I think I already answered the question. I basically, I think I would tell myself to be more present. Sitting in places, in classrooms and internships, and really spending the time to understand the process that you're going through. I would also tell myself to probably enjoy the space between degrees. I think I did it a lot. I've continuously been in a marine biology role, but I've also been able to travel in between those roles, and that's been really great. But I think I would tell myself to be more present in all those experiences and not worry about the next thing so much.
I thought about this, and I think that there are a couple of things I would tell my younger self. I guess the first one would to be more focused, because I was always doing so many different things that I was satisfied with a lower GPA just because I got to be in everything else. But I probably would have focused more on my studies, and I know this is not what you guys want to hear, but take the time now to take that extra hour or two to study whatever it is and prepare for that exam, because you are going to thank yourself later. Please believe me, you will thank yourself later. I built a reward system for myself. It's almost like I'm a different person from before I had my child to after, because now I need to be more responsible and there's like no option but to succeed. And I would reward myself. I could only go out on the weekend if I had completed all of my homework and all of my studying. That meant, you know, doing it Thursday night, doing it Friday night. If I didn't finish it Friday, I didn't get to go out Friday. And I would go out on Saturday instead. But it just made me enjoy going out more, because I'm like, oh, there's nothing I need to worry about. I'm not going to have to binge study on Sunday because I already did it on Friday. And I really started to see a change in the kind of student that I was when I started doing that. And the second thing is pay attention to your student loans and the money that you're taking out now, and see a financial advisor now, and start thinking about your financial freedom now. Do not worry about it later. Do it now. So when you go into the bursar's office and you're talking about the financial aid office, and you're talking about monies and loans and books and everything, less is more. Don't take out what you don't need, and really make sure that you prepare a plan. If you have an engineering economics class, take it. If you're not required to take it as an elective, and really think about organizing your finances now for the future, because you will also thank yourself later for doing that.
I would say 3 things I would tell myself. I would tell myself to affirm yourself every day. Say positive things to yourself. There's a young lady here who's kind of bringing up like doubt, self-doubt, and how that comes up. And there's actually research around this that says, you know, for every negative thing someone says to you or you say to yourself, it has 10 times the impact emotionally and psychologically as every positive thing. And so I would tell myself to definitely say positive things to myself every day, constantly affirm myself. The other thing I would tell myself is that people are not as scary as you think they are. Like, people are mostly good, and especially if you like look for people who are really like trying to be introspective, who, you know, care about their spirituality, who care about the climate. Like, look for those kind of people. Those are safe spaces, because I was super introverted and like took a long time to like take off. And then the last thing I would tell myself is to trust my intuition. Trust your intuition, because I was highly analytical. Like, I put everything into spreadsheets, calculated probabilities for like, seriously, like the likelihood of me graduating from college, the likelihood of me dying in a plane crash. Like, I did that stuff all the time. And I didn't pay enough attention to just my intuition and just like what I felt. And that turned out to be the most powerful thing in my life, because it was the intuition that led me to take every leap that I took in my life. And it's all those leaps that have led me to the great outcomes that I've been able to enjoy today.
So I tell myself, I assume every day people are doing the best that they can with their resources and the information that they have. So that's that. Just wanted to tell you that. I tell myself that all the time. It's the only way I can make it through. If I tell myself that guy is doing the best that he can with the information and the tools that he has. Right. So anyway, I would tell my younger self 2 things. One is ask bold questions. I can't tell you how helpful it is to not necessarily, if you see something is wrong, or if you see something that you don't feel quite right, or you're not asking enough, be curious and be bold enough to actually ask the question. The first time I did this, I stood up in a panel or a big group, bigger than this, 200, 300 people, and the VPs at Facebook were on a panel. We were at Facebook campus. And I said, what are you guys doing to move forward with women in tech? You guys have said that you've been at Facebook for 5, 6 years and you wouldn't be able to pass the interview process as it currently stands today. But you guys are VPs. What are you guys doing to move the conversation forward? And I had to record myself because I think I blacked out. Like, I was so nervous to ask these 5 VPs that question. I have it on recording, so I know I asked it, right? But asking bold questions. So asking for that salary, right? Asking for that project that is going to be the big shiny thing. Asking for, and then if you ask, you're not demanding. But if you don't get it, it doesn't necessarily mean you can't get it somewhere else, right? But you still have to ask in the situation that you're in. So just being bold enough to actually vocalize. And the other thing is learn how to get the resources you need to move your career forward and do whatever you need to do. So there are a lot of people in this world that have a lot more resources and can get a lot further than some other people, right? Parents can help you take care of things, or you have inheritances or anything like that. Just because if you don't have those things doesn't mean you can't do them. There are other ways, especially in the technological world that we have today, that you can figure out ways to get the resources that you need, and you are not alone. If you don't have a family that can provide all of the resources, or anybody to be able to, or you started from behind, et cetera, et cetera. Learn how to be resourceful, because what you don't want to do is a credential that would serve you 10 years later. You shouldn't have to say, oh, I couldn't afford to do this. Just figure out a way to get resources in any way that you can, so that you can do what you need to do to get the credentials. As we've all said, credentials are important, unfortunately. So figure out a way to get resources.
I just wanted to add one thing that I thought of while you guys were talking, and it's that when everyone is talking and the team conversation is going really great and they're all going off in this really great direction and the idea has skyrocketed and we're going this way, and you're sitting there and you're just like, I don't know, say something. Don't go along with the project idea that you don't believe yourself. And just kind of, I usually put it in the form of, I'll say this, I'll be like, I want to challenge you guys a little bit. Like, I'll say that to my team. I want to challenge your idea about a little bit, because if we do this, this is the chain of events that I foresee happening, right? Just kind of go through the motions of it. If we do this, then this is going to happen, and that might. And that's kind of like how my thought process goes. I try to think to the next 10 steps to try and figure out where we'll be if we make this decision now, where it will put us a few months from now. And when I do that, it's like it's the same thing, going with your gut and just being able to just speak up and just say, I think that maybe we should reconsider that, or before we finalize that, can we have an opportunity to think on more ideas and maybe table it and make the final decision later. And have the confidence to do that.